We're off like a herd of mud turtles. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angel Wolf. This is Mike Merberg, and we are finally up in the new studio, or the old studio that we've been trying to get to for a long time.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Studios of Area 52 at Darby Ranch.
Yep.
Here in downtown Darby, Florida.
Is there a downtown Darby?
What's the traffic light? There's nothing there, but we have a traffic light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We got one. Hopefully we'll have two someday. So.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Or not. Hopefully not.
Well, with the number of Yankees making their freaking way down here, it might be like 6 months before we get a new one in another subdivision. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. imho.love, in my humble opinion, .love. We cover CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, also known as HICE, Human-Initiated Contact Experiences. And we feature a little humor, and we feature a little aha. And here we are on the 17th of March, 2021, and it's St. Patrick's Day. Apparently massive festivities for some. It's good to be here. It's good to be up in the studio. As you can see, this is Mike's art studio behind us. So whatever you pick out in the background to look at, you're welcome to it. And
Welcome to look. Nothing's for sale.
yeah, nothing's for sale at this point, so feel free to peruse the collection. But good to be here, and thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, today is St. Patrick's Day. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of green beer flowing. But you know, the amazing thing about not all of it, but a lot of it, is some of these traditions are modern. They're modern adaptations of things that really never happened. They just kind of morphed like history does. And like, for instance, St. Patrick wasn't even Irish. He was Welsh or English, right?
No, he was Welsh.
Welsh?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was Welsh. And his
Speak up a little bit.
he wasn't born Patrick either.
Not Patrick.
Yeah.
What was his real name?
His christened name was Maywin Suckat.
What?
Maywin Suckat. Wouldn't be the name of a horse that I named.
Maywin Suckat.
Suckat, right.
Oh my! Isn't there a kicker, NFL kicker named Suckup?
I don't know, but
think
this guy
there
was
is.
Suckat, so
Suckat.
yeah, he wanted to be a lawyer, so they said, no, sorry. You got the wrong
You'll
name.
suck at that.
So go be a priest.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess he was captured in England, spent 6 years in captivity over there, and when he was finally released, he made it back to Ireland, and where he was a great evangelist, I gather. And the thing that I've known this for a long time, you know, the lore goes that he drove all the snakes from Ireland into the sea, but that's just an allegorical phrase, because A, there were no snakes in Ireland. It's too cold in Ireland for snakes. And the snakes they were talking about were the Druids, the pagans, what the Christians looked at then as serpents. So there was that. The wave of Christianity that took over Ireland, and
Ireland is part of a landmass that was in the middle of the ocean at one time that North America was attached to, and Europe, a good part of Europe, was attached to. And then the continent kept on spreading and spreading and spreading, and it finally came across. But it's really amazing to think that there are no snakes in Ireland.
yeah,
I mean, not even like a seagull who had one, just decided to drop it off, or one to swim across the Irish Sea is a very short way between Wales and Ireland, and Northern Ireland. There were no engaging snakes. It's like, hey, I think it's better over there. Let's go give it a swim.
Yeah, no, apparently not.
So,
and originally, I guess the Irish, everybody's wearing green, although I blew it today. Mike's got a little green there, and I believe that's a tartan plaid. Is that a tartan?
No, this is a black watch.
Black watch.
This is a black watch.
Black watch
yes.
plaid. Okay.
Yes, it's very Irish. Don't confuse it with the Scottish. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. But blue was actually the color, and somehow it morphed into green.
Well, yeah, you know why it was blue?
Because of the flag?
No, because of duck shit.
Duck shit?
Duck shit, yeah. What the Celts would do is they would take the duck shit, and before they go into battle, they would smear themselves with the duck shit, and it was turned blue. So they were running into battle with blue duck shit on them.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Mel Gibson did in that movie?
Yeah, it's blue duck shit.
Blue duck shit.
Yeah. So
making you a fierce warrior.
yeah, well, it's smelling bad enough so that everybody's going to take off and run the other direction. It's like, holy Christ, those guys smell worse than they did before the duck shit.
Excuse me for tending to my beak. Where the show comes out of Darby Ranch, Florida, and we have had just a total invasion of pollen. The whole world is yellow. And it affects my sinuses. I've tried to tend to it with various nasal sprays and stuff, but still I'm a little leaky in the beak. So if you'll tolerate my droning voice a little bit and the occasional post-nasal drip.
Yeah, you suck at controlling your post-nasal drip.
Controlling my post-nasal drip.
Sorry, Maywin, you suck at controlling your post-nasal drip. You're going to need to find yourself.
Poor Maywin.
Oh, God.
Well, folks, the world just keeps getting weirder and weirder, but and we'll get back to that, but one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight, and this is for our CE5 group, last Saturday night, we had one of the best groups and events that we've had in a very long time. It was a total of 30, wasn't there? 29, 28?
Yeah, there were like 30 people there, but the craft started coming in all different ways, shapes, and forms, far away, close up, entities moving in and out of the fire circle that were caught on film, and it was just an amazing night. We haven't had a night like that in a year.
Yeah, the Ken Glanister got some good shots.
Yep.
And have they made it up to the?
They haven't made it up to me yet. And
okay.
Floor got some great shots too, although she hasn't gotten her new SIM card to send them. But
okay.
I expect those this week. And Tony,
yeah.
sent me a few, and I posted one of them on the site. It's really kind of cool because you can see there's an entity, there's a light entity inside of the orb.
Yeah.
And then we had some cylindrical orbs, or whatever you want to call them, in the trees and showing. And then we had a whole bunch that responded to us. We love you, come back, and they came back. And
yeah, it was an amazing. I would say there were probably 30 of those extended flashes. Some with color, some were pure white. Some had a little blue tint, some had a little green tint. But just these beautiful, the best way to describe it is if you watched a flash bulb go off in slow motion and then just fade out like that. And
then they hightailed it away.
Yeah.
And then they come back. And they stream right back in again.
Yeah.
And said, come on back. And they came back.
Well, our friend Kim Possible, she watches the sky as well, and she saw some in the evening, and she's even seeing them in the daytime now. So apparently, I don't know if it had anything to do with the space launch last week or whatever. There's a lot of activity going on up in the sky right now, and really amazing time. And we had a beautiful healing ceremony again. We go into a nice meditation. You know what else is cool too is my sister Michelle made it for the first time. She's been wanting to go over the last 4 years. Well, she finally made it last Saturday night, and she got to see craft.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like they say that only 20% of the people that go see Mount McKinley or Denali, whatever you want to call it, actually get to see it because of the cloud cover, you know. And and these are even greater odds that you would come out to a CE5 Skywatch and get to see that much activity. Apparently during the meditation, we were having the healing meditation, and this happens to me from time to time. As I'm speaking to the group, stuff happens over my head behind me that's just pretty amazing. My sister said it was like 3 different movements across the sky.
Yeah. You and Moses, you just never get to see the promised land.
You know, it's must be our pride or our ego.
Yeah, do you need another? I'll go get some paper.
Go
towels.
get some paper towels.
Yeah.
Maybe get a wet one.
This is going to be a sweat lodge here.
We should have started chilling this room down a while ago.
Yeah.
But
July's going to be here soon.
yeah, don't you know? I think it's here already. But here we've just had incredible turnouts. The CE5 group is growing. Thank you, all of you who are watching from the group, and thank you everybody that's tuned in on Facebook. You know, Mike and I could do a show about most anything. I, of course, have a long career in stand-up comedy. I could sit there and talk about comics and jokes and all that stuff for years and years. I've had just a wonderful experience in that entertainment industry, that part of the entertainment industry, and we could. And Mike, of course, graduated historian from Princeton, and has been an attorney here in Florida for the last 28 years. 36 years. Sorry.
It's okay.
36 years, and so we could talk all about that. But the most interesting thing that we find is this personal involvement with extraterrestrial craft, extraterrestrial beings, and extraterrestrial energies. It was really fantastic Saturday night because we did get a lot of visual support during the Skywatch.
Yeah, it came in, dribs and drabs during the night, and then all of a sudden, about 5 minutes in front of midnight, it poured ET for the next hour and a half. And everything was right, though. Everything was really done right. But we did it really not according to the book. We skipped the convocation,
Right.
and we went right into the invocation, which was nice and short. And we did our CTS, our consciousness. What we do is we. I'm sorry, I'm kind of winded. But thought we do our thought sequencing from Earth to the subtle realm, and we send out our love and intent and request for contact, and we come back, and it's all done consciously. Call it metaphysics if you want, but it is. We know how to operate it. We don't really know how it works, but we know it does work. That was nice and short. I probably kept it in less than 4 minutes.
Yep.
And then we had your meditation about an hour later, and then we had Celine do her.
She did a wonderful
meditation.
job.
She did a wonderful job for a first timer, and then we had the bowls too. We had our two
Buffy and Sahara.
Buffy and Sahara. They did a great job on the bowls. We don't usually do that. That was like, hey, can we do this? And then everything kind of fit together really nicely. And E.T. decided to show up. Everything was cool.
Well, it was a very pleasant mood amongst the people, and there were a lot of first timers there.
Yeah, a bunch.
Boy, you're so welcome. And if you're interested in this, the first thing you need to do is write to Mike, and he will send you the protocols. You email Darby Ranch CE5 at gmail.com. That's DARBYRANCH CE and the number 5 at gmail.com. Attention, Mike. Say you saw the imho.love show, which is, in my humble opinion, .love, and you're interested in a CE5 event. We do them once a month. The next one is April 10th.
10th, yes.
April 10th coming up, and you're welcome. If you're inquisitive about it, I can tell you there is nothing else quite like this, and it is a bold act of energy that we put forth. We approach these extraterrestrial intelligences with empty hands and open hearts. We seek nothing but their communion, and last Saturday night was like it was really a great boost in my/our attitude towards it, because it was like a picture. It was it was like a training video. It just happened just the way it should.
And a lot of people got pictures too, which is something that usually don't happen. The orbs stayed around long enough to people to pull out their phones and cameras to aim and shoot, and it was like a photo op.
Yep.
And we've got some good videos from meetups gone by, but it's been disheartening because the amount of contact we gotten spoiled.
Yeah.
When you and I were doing this 4 years ago, went out, it was like, oh wow, we saw 2 tonight,
Right.
And that was like a big night. We made contact. Oh boy, yeehaw. And now, if you see 2, it's like, oh God, what an awful night, So our expectations have gotten much, much bigger because actually, as we do this, our ability to contact gets much better, and the results, even though I'll complain that there were very little results in the last 6 months, they're still better than the first 6 months.
Yeah.
And not every night is going to be like November 3rd, 2018, or October, or whatever it was, 2018, where the craft were all over. But this was a very similar night. So, we're lucky, we're blessed. You never know when it's going to happen, but when it does, it certainly gets your attention.
Yeah.
So.
And I think what it is too, it's the sincere effort of the group. The people that come out here, they're a unique bunch. Everyone that I've met so far is intelligent.
Yeah, all different races.
All different races, all different backgrounds. I mean, we've got, from medical professionals to draftsmen and engineers and
nurses, a lot of nurses, a lot of surgical nurses.
Well, I know what it is. I think the connection with the nurses is they actually do see a lot of high energy type things happen in hospital settings. Yeah. They see healings. They see people miraculously recover, and this is all linked to that. One of the things we do, if you're not familiar with it, if you've never been, like I said, you can inquire, and we'll make room for you. But as a group, we kind of surrender a lot of our worldliness, our earthliness, and we approach our. Bless you.
Oh, that oak pollen.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy up here.
See a puff of green.
Like I said, we approach our ET friends with empty hands and open hearts, and that energy amongst and once you get that many people in agreement like that, and we do this wonderful energy exchange from hand to hand. It goes through you. You're a conduit to the next person, and the person next to you is a conduit to you.
As each generates his own, there's a way to generate love. People ask me, well, what is love and how do I generate it? Well, there's a way to do that, and a way to find it, and a way to share that.
Right.
So,
So, as we go around this circle, it really does build like a momentum, like a vortex, and then we send that signal up that here's a group. There's some divine energy involved here, and apparently it's becoming very appealing to our ET friends.
Yeah, and consciousness defies the space-time continuum, which reminds me too is during your healing meditation,
Yeah.
you know the science is there that you can actually go into the past to correct the problem so that your health problem so that it manifests in health in the now in the now.
Okay.
So that's another conscious one. I'll turn you on to the research. I got it someplace.
Okay.
But that's a reality. It really exists, and you can do that.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of thinking about yourself being good now. You can defy time and space and go back into the past. And some things you can change, some things you cannot. But this is all consciousness based, so it doesn't follow the same rules of materiality. And it's all, if you want to call it something, it's quantum physics based. It's not on Newtonian physics. This is something new that even the great physicists like Max Planck and Schrodinger understood 100 years ago, and what science is still fighting with, saying, what do you mean it's not material? Because 400 years ago, Rene Descartes separated religion and science, or spirituality and science, and then the two did not meet until the last century, when they started seeing spooky action at a distance, and they realized that Einstein's theories worked to a point, but they did not explain other phenomena that were going on. And even Einstein wasn't willing to take the step, beyond materiality into consciousness.
Well, he had his governmental links as well, and governments throughout time have controlled those narratives. And as they do now, what you're experiencing now on your tunnel vision and in various broadcasts is a manipulation of the narrative that they want presented.
Well, they know they can manipulate consciousness, and when they manipulate consciousness, they can manipulate the reality. You manipulate consciousness in a political situation, for example, you can manipulate the entire reality of politics, which is what they do all the time. They realize that very early on, like Bernays, well, I forget his first name.
Edward.
He got it, and the CIA picked up on it. The Germans picked up on it. All the powers that be picked up on it to persuade people to do things they wouldn't normally do unless the tools of persuasion there were working on them. So They changed their consciousness, and they changed the politics, and they changed the reality of the world that way. It's going on all the time today, but people are blind to it, and they don't really look out for it, and they don't see it happening.
Well, because, I'm sure there's 100 becauses, but one of the becauses is they dull all the sharp edges, okay? And and it's a very, very slow massage. They just bend the tabs back just far enough to get it by, and then as time goes on, the actual message that they've been trying to send may be several years old by the time it actually gets out. But the way they bend it and the way they smooth it down, we don't even know that that's the way it happened. We lose track of the manipulation. Well, like for instance, I'm 61 years old, and I've been an observer for a long time on many different levels. And I just wanted to, while I got a little bit of time here, people ask me, hey, how'd you get into all that? I mean, you're a comic, and, you've been selling cars and trucks and vans and, whatever for years and years. How did you wind up doing this? And I got to tell you, the leaven in the loaf is this guy right here. This is a fellow named Lou White, who had a record store in Louisville, Kentucky. And he used to put all these obscure little teachings on the posts and on the walls in his record store. And it was about, this is the pagan sources of popular customs. So what and I was a young Christian at the time, and then I became a young Messianic believer. But what this traces, this was information that was never available. And you can find fossilized customs on the internet. and this book here is probably 20 years old, but all incredible little chunks of information that help define the narrative that we're experiencing today. With this cancel culture thing, the thing with me, Mike, or the thing that I'm noticing is it's almost like wanton antagonization. They're busting Dr. Seuss's chops. They're busting, Pepe Le Pew and all these cartoons. Okay, on one hand, crying victim on one side, but on the other side, I didn't watch the Grammys, but I saw enough, vignettes about it. Apparently, there's an artist. I can't remember her name. Wait,
I saw her. The one. I mean, my God. I mean, it ain't. My God, it ain't jelly. It's got to be jam because jelly don't shake like that. She was. Oh man, really? I was offensive.
It's very offensive.
And I used to live and work in a strip joint.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
holy
Me
Christ.
too. It's where I got my start as a comic. Yeah, they have that WAP, that wet ass pussy video. Completely pornographic, completely
Disrespectful to women.
Disrespectful to women, disrespectful to everybody, really. But that was the song of the year or something.
I know, it's ridiculous. It reminds me, I was watching the movie Trumbo last night, which was about the blacklist from the McCarthy era, where they blacklisted all the communist writers who belonged to the Communist Party. And they went for Edward G. Robinson, too, as an actor, but eventually he kind of squirreled his way out at the end. But these guys all did time because they wouldn't turn each other in. It was Dalton Trumbo. Dalton Trumbo wrote Johnny Got His Gun, which was banned during World War II. It was banned in this country until after the war because it was such an indictment against modernized warfare. They made a great movie out of it, too. Johnny Got His Gun. You can find it on YouTube. And the book is phenomenal. I made both my kids read it when they're old enough to read it. And
Okay.
it was one of their favorite books because it's just brilliantly written. I mean, we're talking about the guy who wrote Spartacus. We're talking, Exodus. I mean, he did some of the greatest movies that have ever been made. Roman Holiday, and all these movies were done while he was blacklisted. I
Wow.
mean, he had like 4 or 5 Academy Awards for best movies. And what he sends in the end is that, they blacklisted us, and what did it do? It didn't result in any new legislation, any laws. It helped nobody, and all it did was hurt the people that got blacklisted. It hurt their families. It hurt them. Some of them died. It hurt our culture, and it wasn't until John Kennedy went to watch Spartacus, which was the first movie that Trumbo's name reappeared on after almost a dozen years. And when John Kennedy saw it, he said, great movie. I really liked it. It's long overdue that the blacklisted people have to, come back out on stage again. And what has happened today, the enemy is not fascism and it's not communism. The enemy is statism.
Yes.
Okay, and you can call it whatever you will, but back in the 50s, it was Americanism versus communism. And then today, it's communism versus Americanism.
Right.
And they're both, and both of them, use Machiavellian means to achieve their ends, and the ends are worthless. And all they do is create harm and hurt, and they denigrate society, and they bring down a great nation, which should be a lot greater than it is. And it will withstand this, but it's got to stop. And that's exactly what cancel culture is doing today. That's exactly what, the far left is trying to force onto the American people as normal, as a new normal, saying, there is no male, there is no female. Well, frickin' tell that to the chickens and the roosters outside there, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
For crying out loud, they're telling us 2 and 2 equals 5, and to accept it, I'm sorry, my name is not Winston Smith, and 2 and 2 will always equal 4.
Here, I agree. There's also another side to it as well. I think the reason that it survived is there's guys like me and you that if something gets blacklisted or we can't have it or we can't see it, we try to find out why. And then we will pursue it in its rarity because you can't see it. And that's been, like, for instance, anybody that knows me any length of time, like if I'm shopping for something and the salesperson says, "Oh, this is the one everyone's getting," it's not the one I'm going to get. I guarantee it. I seek the eclectic. I seek the obtuse. I'll get that one strange one. You know, it's like guys that bought American Motors muscle cars at the turn of the '70s. You know, they were fast, but they were weird. You know.
Yeah, I want me a Javelin.
Hey, I thought they were great looking cars. They really had radical styling.
They did, but they fell apart after 100,000 miles. They're done. 80, maybe. I don't see many Javelins on the road.
Well, because they rotted out.
There you go.
Yeah, they had. Well, they were built up in Kenosha.
Yeah.
And but I tell you what, you get a nice one.
Yeah.
And they really hold their value. I mean, they're bringing 10 times what they were new.
Because there's so few of them left.
That's true. But talk about, they took styling cues from like Speed Racer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they were American Motors. When I used to do the Grease Guru show with Tim Gibson, we did a whole American Motors segment one Saturday morning. And it's amazing. They were the first ones ever to introduce designer packages on cars.
Yeah.
They had a Gucci Matador. They had a Pierre Cardin Javelin.
Yeah.
They had a Levi's Gremlin.
Yeah. Are you going to buy a car with the name of Gremlin?
Right.
It's like you're buying, it's like, what's wrong with it? We got gremlins in the engine. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a Gremlin. What do you expect?
Richard Dreyfuss did the original Gremlin commercial in 1971.
Oh, really? Duddy Kravitz, huh? One of Dreyfuss's early movies was this Duddy Kravitz. The story of Duddy Kravitz, about a Jewish kid who's growing up in Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was the.
I didn't know that.
That was the Duddy Kravitz. Yeah. You got your esoteric. I got mine. Back when
And I don't know if any of you guys remember. You gotta be pretty old to remember Gremlins. They had a really weird body line. The hood went like this. The windshield went like this. The roof line went this, and then it slammed shut.
Yeah.
It was like it just cut off on an angle.
Yeah, and you couldn't get the engine out unless you lifted the body off the chassis to get the engine out.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was the Pacer.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was the Pacer.
I'm sorry.
You could get a motor out of a Gremlin,
right?
Because I yanked a couple,
right?
But the Pacer was the first vehicle to tuck the last two cylinders in behind the firewall.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had to drop the front carriage to get it out. Now, I just learned this today.
I didn't want to defame the Gremlin.
But yeah, right. Yeah, let's hold that up. And it's odd brother the Hornet. All pesky things actually.
No.
Javelins, Hornets, Gremlins, Matadors.
I'm sorry.
Well, there was two kinds of Matadors.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was one Matador that came in a 2-door and a 4-door and a wagon.
Yeah.
That was kind of a regular pedestrian-looking car.
Right.
But then there was the swoopy Matador, which was had this real swoopy body lines, and there was an Oleg Cassini Matador.
Yeah. I almost bought the Gucci Matador.
The Gucci Matador.
This is like 1978. A guy comes in from Maine into Vermont, and he's got driving this Gucci Matador, and he needs $250 for it. It's got low miles, and he comes into the bar and says, you want to take a look at the car? And I was like, we're in the bar. I said, okay, yeah, we'll go outside. It's a Matador. It's not, nobody's crazy about it. It was a good car though. He wanted $250 for it. It was a real bargain.
Good deal.
Then I opened the door, and he's got his dog sitting on the front seat, and he's crapped all over the front seat.
Oh.
It's like, I'm sorry, man. Good luck with the car.
The dog crapped on the front seat?
Yeah, it was
That's
horrible.
not a selling feature.
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Just
the
had to
guy
be
probably had more issues than...
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was... But we really went down a rabbit hole with American Motors there, but but not really, because I love those kind of eclectic things. I don't like the thing that everybody else likes. I really don't. And I posted on Facebook that I've lost all trust in my television. And I used to be selective on my television, but anymore, I can't stand any of it. And it really does give me a headache. And the commercials are especially bad, but the whole thing is a commercial. The whole thing is a mind manipulation from beginning to end. And as far as my video things, I watch documentaries. I still read books, those kind of things. But as far as like sitting down and being home in time to watch a series that's on at a particular time, you'll never find me in that pocket. It doesn't exist for me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
They called me the other day, and they goes like, "Oh, we're from this company, and we want to sell you a special deal on watching this and such." I said, "Like, I don't have TV." I was like, "Well, you have Wi-Fi, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't have TV." And it was like, "Well, what do you do with your time?" I was like, "I read." It's like, I read everything. It was like, well, I said, "Goodbye."
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm one of those rare people.
Yeah, you're a real Renaissance dude. You really are.
Yeah. It's like, just like St. Patrick was.
Yes, St. Patrick. What's his name again?
It was May Win Suck At.
May Win Suck At Day. See, now that
he sucks at it, but he may win.
He may win. He may win at sucking at it. But anyway, and to cap that off, thank you very much, Lou White, for stirring my desire for the unique or unknown or little known ideologies. And when it all started out is I got really curious about symbols. I'd see symbols on certain things that had some sort of continuity, and Lou really goes into this quite a bit. Like I said, this book is old, but all his modern stuff is up there on fossilizedcustoms.com, fossilizedcustoms.com. So hence, as I've been one that's sought the eclectic all my life, being a stand-up comic was a very eclectic thing to do with your life. It's funny, I had dinner with friends, my buddy Dave and his girl, Deb, and he was a sheriff and, a really good dude. You know Dave.
Yeah, the over the road guy.
Yep. And they've been able to travel and go all across the country, and,
Yeah, he's got his own ET story, too.
Yeah, he does.
UFO, actually.
Yeah. And it was interesting. We do a little business together, and he was just telling me about some things he's invested in and stuff like that. And the digits that I saw by mistake, I'm like, wow, I guess those were really expensive, visits to the park that I did. That was really do you need to see Mount Rushmore again, Lou? Yeah, I guess I do. But I can't say, and at the time, I can't say that I was that I totally thought I was making the right decision at those times, because I was getting the adventure done. I was seeing things that no one else had seen, or a lot of my friends hadn't seen, and I just couldn't get enough of traveling. And I was talking to Christine the other night, and I said, I spent my whole life depending on strangers, and it really improved my my fullness as a human being, because I still do it. I can still wander into any town in America and get along okay. But that and again, that proves, okay, that you can do this. We're not as separate as everybody says we are, or that they want us to think we are. There is all kinds of beautiful, beautiful energy amongst people. There are, where were we talking the other day? Back when cars weren't so dependable, you'd see somebody stall out in an intersection. Next thing you know, you got 4 guys piling out of their cars, throw them in park, maybe turn the flashers on if they were, and then push the guy out of the way.
Right.
Clear the road. But anymore, if you did that, the people would think you're attacking them.
Yeah, and you get run over. I mean, people wouldn't look out for you. It's like no, sorry.
Yeah.
People don't care.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I think what Mike and I are trying to say is that there really still is a wonderful, big, wide thread of humanity out there that's very, very easy to link into or just flow with it.
Yeah, find a CE5 group.
Yeah, and these CE5s, there is a fantastic CE5 handbook written by Celia Hatch. It's called the CE5 Handbook.
Or a CE5 handbook.
I think
it's
CE5 handbook.
Yeah, she didn't want to be the, but
a CE5. Okay, I get it. Trying to. That's modesty right there.
that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
cool.
And she's a lovely lady.
Absolutely.
And this will instruct you, like if you're, Mike, this show gets watched all over the world. Our friend Joe Goodman out there in Tasmania.
Hiya, Joey.
Hi. And then we have watchers in Belgium, Iceland. And I'm just floored.
Bulgaria,
absolutely.
come on, Mike.
You need to call some of your Russian buddies.
Da.
So the fact that this show gets all over the world blows me away. But it is the one thing in common of all of humanity, regardless of what hemisphere you live in. ET is everywhere, and they always will be everywhere. And having an open approach, an open attitude towards things that, I'm going to say that, they're superior to us in many, many ways.
By billions of years.
Yeah.
Billions of years. This part of the galaxy has been around for 4 billion years. This rock has been 4 billion years. A billion years of life, one way or the other. The rest of the universe is like 14 billion years old. They're off to a good head start.
Right.
Maybe as much as 10 billion years, and that's just in this little part of the universe.
And that's the history we can trace.
Right. And even the bigger picture is that we're all connected to an infinite being that's been there forever. And we keep on recycling lives through the physical universe, but the soul remains, and it's part of the underlying network of reality. It is what it is.
Well, and the element of love and the element of innocence is the thing that that's our leaning post, is love and innocence, because
that's what attracts them.
And that's the way we approach them. Because, our other attitudes towards whatever are kind of meaningless. Because the purity of love and the purity of innocence is something that any true spirit entity or true being can relate to. So why not go with that is the universal language? And why not let that be the most relatable thing? And there's all these CE5 groups. I would really be interested to find out how many there actually are.
More and more every day.
Yeah. So if you're interested in this stuff, folks, like I said, Celia Hatch has a book, a CE5 handbook, that you can download. You can download it for free somewhere, I think.
Yep. It's in like a bunch of different languages now, too.
Yeah, she let a PDF file.
Right.
She leaves a PDF file.
Goodness of her heart.
Yep. Or you can buy the hard copy or the soft copy or whatever, and her prices are very reasonable.
It's nothing. It's peanuts. She does it for love.
Right. So, as our world progresses, and you're wondering what the next new thing is, I can tell you, this is it, because everything else has been done. We've dealt with every kind of, the sports competition, and everything is extreme now, and way past extreme. There's people that are just, they live their whole life to run marathons or be, rough water swimmers or mountain bikers.
It's all ego.
Yeah.
It's all ego. I was watching another documentary last night about an American cyclist who went to Russia to go on a doping program. Actually, he did it here. Lance Armstrong had 500 doping tests that he passed. And this guy from Russia said these doping tests are out there, but they're so easy to fool. Everybody can do it, and anybody can do it, and they are doing it. And it's just amazing. You just like politics. You used to have your faith in Babe Ruth and the great athletes of the past, and then all of a sudden doping comes in, and nobody has any compunction about not doing it, and then it's just spoiled sports. Yeah, the numbers are up, and it's got better entertainment value, but it's lost its innocence. It's worthless. There's nothing there to achieve. It's all, look what I can do under these circumstances and with these drugs. And it's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless.
Well, I've been saying for decades now, every year that goes by, we're 1 year closer to a rollerball. Mm-hmm. There will be a death sport in this. And also, I believe we're probably going to see somewhere in our life, like if you look at bodybuilders and power lifters, all those guys are juicing on steroids, and they've got their whatever. Okay, but I think you're going to see full steroid, no restriction athletes that are willing to just burn their bodies out and just trash their humanity over ego, over being a sports star. And there's, if you look at these old football players, my gosh, the steroid abuse and the body abuse and the ramming of the head and all that stuff, these guys aren't well, and they were punished and crushed for your entertainment value. And I think that's going to just continue to accelerate. But I'll also tell you, that's a whole avenue of thought that's completely foreign from me. I have no idea why you would do that with your life. It's not what your life is about. And for as quickly as people are forgotten, why would you spend that time doing that? Why would you burn up your most precious life, your most precious years, becoming something that's going to be so quickly forgotten? And but this, the CE5 and the human initiated contact experiences, this is the trend of what's coming. We are going to be able to communicate on higher levels. We have crossed into the age of Aquarius. There is a new paradigm available for those seeking it. And contrary to what Mike said, it's all ego. This is the opposite of ego. This is the surrender, and this is you offering your purest spirit, your purest being, and trusting that the next level is going to take care of you, that the next level is what you're looking for. So with those type of expansions of consciousness, this is where you want to be, to me. But like I said, I've always sought the eclectic. Maybe you're happy, maybe you're happy watching Dexter or some show that kills people every day. And that's the other thing too. I can't watch much television because of the constant kill factor. An average, what was it? This was a couple years old, this statistic. They say if in 4 hours of television viewing, you can see anywhere from 35 to 65 people being killed or murdered. He said you flip through the channels. And I'm sorry, those are all little dents in your head. Those aren't going to do you any good. Watching all that suffering, which in a way is part of the narrative, is they want you afraid. They don't want you out adventuring. They want you staying home. They want you going to work. They want you doing the job. They want you consuming. They want you eating. And they want you to spend your money on the crap they're showing you.
The one thing they don't want you to do is become part of a post-contact world.
Yes.
That's why, I lectured last month in a group of scientists and very intelligent people, and their question was, well, if this is going on, why isn't science studying it? Well, it's because there's a vested interest in money in studying other things that are in the opposite direction of this. And when it comes right down to it, I got grandchildren now, and it occurred to me is that wouldn't it be great for those of us that have grandchildren or will have grandchildren, for their grandkids to say, my grandmother or my grandfather helped make this new world come to life.
Wow.
And that's what we're working on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And I have, Mike has sparked my interest in studying the Tao, and I wanted to share, this is a great book, this John Hyder, and this is a commentary on the Tao of leadership, and I found this page just absolutely fascinating. I know I'm not supposed to read, but I didn't memorize it. And the Tao is and isn't. This was just so profound. This is what the Tao is not. It is not a thing. It is not a sound or any other vibration. It is not divisible into parts. It does not change. It cannot be diluted or augmented. It has no partner or complement. This is what the Tao is. It is one. It is unity. It determines everything. It comes before everything. It is the law of everything. The clearest, most helpful word I know to use for the Tao is how, because Tao is the principle of how everything works. Remember that while it has no form or qualities, it is everywhere, all the time, forever. Imagine 4 levels of infinity. People are infinite in a sense. The earth is infinite. The cosmos is infinite. And the Tao is infinite. Although each of these 4 may be infinite in a way, the first 3 are subject to the next greater one. People are dependent on the earth. The earth is dependent on the cosmos, and the cosmos is dependent on the Tao. But the Tao is not dependent on anything. So, in that, what that loops around to is what all the religions of the world and all the mindsets of the world, many of the governments, many of the narrative that you're hearing is dissecting smaller, lesser things and tripping you up, making you argue, making you unsettled. What they don't want you to understand, what those controlling powers don't want you to understand, is the great oneness of all things. And once we realize, I just kept peeling back. That's how I got started with Lou. Okay, I was going to a Christian church, and I was listening to the messages every week, and it was great. And the stories of Jesus and the reality of his life and this and that, all wonderful, wonderful lessons. And I don't. There's not an individual that has taught me more. But as you go into your second and third year of hearing the same sermons on the same week every year, in this big, highly unexplainable world, I started to look outside. And I said, you find out little facts like there really is no letter J in Hebrew. So if we're serving a Hebrew Messiah, so Jesus really isn't his name. Okay, it's what we call it.
Yeah.
Okay, his real name was Yeshua or Yahushua.
Jesus was a Latin name.
Yeah, and and so his Hebrew name. So that started my journey here, and then as I kept peeling back, I kept finding that, Yeshua taught the Torah and all the Old Testament stuff. And so then I kept digging back. And what was the truth before the Torah? And as you dig back, really where you wind up is in a big open field full of human beings living in the oneness.
Yep.
Whether we had the spoken word or the written word or the communications, doesn't matter.
Right. You didn't know the difference because the world of 10,000 things had not entered into existence yet.
Yes.
And just like a baby who hasn't named anything yet, he sees the oneness and understands the oneness, and then once things start to be named, then the separation starts beginning.
Yes.
And that's, when we go out in the field and do CE5, we experience the oneness once again. I was thinking in the field, I mentioned to Flora the other night, I said, 10,000 years ago when there wasn't anything, 100,000 years ago when man was still evolving, this is what it was like. People under the stars, just existing, and then, soaking it all in.
Yes.
And you mentioned Christianity was your entrance point. I found a quote by Martin Luther today, and he's you can tell people were knocking on that door. Certain people did. St. Francis of Assisi, for example, understood oneness, and which bespoke his connection with animals and things like that. But this was Martin Luther. God writes the gospel not in the Bible alone, but also on trees and in the flowers and clouds and stars.
Amen.
Amen. And he got it. He got it.
And
he was a rebel too. And look at the revolution that he started as a free thinker. You don't need a church to unite you with God.
Yes.
You can step away from the church and make yourself the arbiter of a higher power. And that's exactly what CE5 does. It skips religion. It skips God. You go right into the consciousness. You find the Tao beyond the subtle realm, in the subtle realm, beyond the veil of Maya, the seen and the unseen. You go past that in your meditation into the world of the imagination and the unknown, which is you and the Creator itself. And then you bespeak your prayer for contact, you share your love with your Creator, with your fellow man, your fellow woman, and then you bring it all back, and that's how ET follows you. They read that. I don't know how it happens, but it happens all the time, and that's how they get here, and that's how they find us. And that's what we do.
They must be up there going, oh, look how cute they are.
And our words will live forever.
Hey, amen. The vibration just keeps going. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the imho.love show. Like I said, if you're interested in CE5 or HICE, Human Initiated Contact Experiences, we'd love to have you. We'd love to tell you what we know. That's why we do the show every Wednesday night at 7:30. The show is live on Facebook Live, and then we go out to the show gets Kathy McGuire, our engineer, sends it over to BitChute, and then Podbean, and YouTube, and there's one more.
I don't know.
The imho.love website itself.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and then share if you would. Again, we'd like to get the message out because more and more people are interested. More and more people need to know how to do that. They're going to find love and peace and tranquility, and they're going to take themselves out of the materialist paradigm and live in a much better universe than they are right now. And all it's a matter of finding it, and hopefully they'll find it through us or somebody else or somewhere else. There's plenty of outlets out there. So,
yep.
Thank you, Lou.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is our friend Edwin. So I guess he did my Irish green for me today.
Yeah, he's looking a little peaked though. We need to get some clothes on that boy.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe.
Winnie the Pooh ain't got no pants.
I ain't a fan.
Shit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. like it, share it, subscribe it, do whatever you like with this. Tell your friends. We have found the newest old way. So if you want to hang, we'd love to have you. This is the least pretentious group of people you'll ever meet. We have the ability to lay down all of our preconceived notions and learn something new, learn something fresh, learn something beautiful. And it's been very much defined in my life and in my heart that this is the right thing for me to be doing. And Mike really, he lends this beautiful property. He opens up his home, and this is all, this could all be very famous someday, because a lot of this stuff got started here, and we don't want any credit. We're not looking for headlines, but what we are wanting to do as humans is share the most beautiful vibrations of love that we've found, and this is the thing that helped us find it. So thank you so much for tuning in. I gotta go around and turn the back off there.
Be careful of the glass over there. Okay?
I'm gonna go around this way.
That's probably.
Isn't this a beautiful studio?
Yeah, I kind of like it.
And
Built it myself.
I know you did. It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We love you. Oh, there's Celine. Hi, honey. And we love you a bunch. And have a wonderful week. See you next Wednesday.